Boarding school. The classrooms are large, the walls so white they are barely visible. A tall spinster stands before us and reads poetry that floats and sinks to our polished shoes in pools of ash. White faces fold towards her her thin words, teeth a slight chatter, the sound of china cups and saucers held in trembling hands. Someone scampers down the hallway and a blue shadow crosses the linoleum to stab our lungs with longing. We are barely alive. The eyes of my classmates are glass weights pressing paper. I trace their pink globe hearts, the opaque arteries that fade in pale bruises, line drawings in pastel smudged at the edges. I want to unzip my satchel and rummage for a barley sugar candy, wrapped hard in chirping paper. I want to suck it, taste it, sweet and amber on my tongue, but cannot move. It's becoming difficult to tell the white faces from the white walls of the classroom. It's difficult to see. Everything is turning white or lighter, even the words sinking into sound, numb like snow on unmittened fingers. The poetry reading. Tonight, let me tell you of a world swallowed in one quick gulp with only crumbs remaining, while in one stale memory corner a small girl shivers on the steps of a tar paper shack. Her daydreams are bruises behind her eyes, oozing songs of suicide children mouth in her unfinished womb. Can you hear me? Powdered woman in the first row, your plucked eyebrows creased with concern. Look at me, diseased, scarred with smallpox, seeping gonorrhea, lungs smothered with TB, pushed into a sewer, a reserve, the weed-choked backyard you never walk through. Listen. I speak of a history pieced from a jigsaw of flesh, torn from dumb tongues. Under my skin, blood beats along roadways barred with do not enter signs, walls of small scars. I will not return to silence. Do you hear me? Hands twitter. You rise to your feet. Lovely, Miss Johnson, and will you have tea now? 1 lump or 2? You dust biscuit from the corner of your mouth, and I remain on stage in front of you. I stare at the pelts hanging from my shoulder and sip from fine bone china. The party for Allan Johnson. Allan took off his flannel suit and dressed like an Indian. Beads shot his chest, feathers beat the air, a scalp swung at his waist as he danced. The boss's daughter saw night press against the eyes of a hawk as he climbed hungry through a savage skull, listened to the curve of earth, waiting for the flutter of a heart in grass. Quick, she turned to run through a room crushed with people. How brutal the noise, the throb of bodies around her, wings in her ears. His flying arms against the ceiling light cast shadows over her cheek. She closed her eyes, felt a mouse squeak in her throat, fur blotting her screams. As she fell, starched petticoats encircled her, white talons around her arms flapping against the falling, the clawing night. Someone helped her from the floor, guided her to a carriage. In the lamplight, the muscled rumps of the Clydesdales trotting were Allan's drumming thighs. Dropping into her father's paving stones, she shattered. All night she would not lay her head on the feather pillowed, but walked the floors in fear of winged white sheets. After the party, Allan was fired from his white-collar job at the bank. To Allan on his wedding day. What is it that kept us alone? Our mixed blood, a man at the cocktail party suggested, like ruined wine, white tainted with red, the inconsistency. He dropped his monocle to stare at me intently with his near-sighted eye, and I laughed, moved on to graciously accept the comfort of strangers. In my bed at the McLaren, I pull blankets over my bobbed hair, shiver with cold. My Charles had left before I arrived, and winter nights in Winnipeg, a cold black wire tying off each solitary nerve before dawn. Does Eva tremble this way? So proper she would not allow card games nor drink, announced she would rather not marry. When she left her fiancé, Mother's white lips pursed her dark face. And now righteous, does she sleep warm? We sat side by side, two sister crows at Henry's bed, waiting, could not weep. There were no other visitors, yet he would not permit a kiss of greeting, cringed at the flutter of our hands. His rooms were furnished with alabaster statues, hovered snowblind, fearful of spring. At night he awoke with mouthfuls of flesh, sweating, choking on no one's name. There is only you, Allan, with that woman from the reserve who would not let you alone. Is there no shame? Eva muttered, lips bitten, permanently pale, and me ice-splintered in this hotel room with steam pipes that chatter the numb night long. I send you my best wishes, dear brother, with your new bride wild with heat. I am a prophet. These words I speak have been given me by angels. Moon-faced, they fall into sight at night and spread wings of pine needles through my skin. Stories appear down my arms, across my legs. They wind my waist in red halos. I have been chosen by Tai to tell of the beginning. My flesh is a series of writhing tablets. Let me show it to you. I will dance without veils. My body is a voice. Listen. My feet tell the story of the lost tribes who wandered in their own darkness. When they reached the promised land, they did not know it, but fell down its wet green gullet, emerged as ravens, whales, eagles. You may see their names written across my toes for just $1. But wait, there's more. Here, along my thighs, are the virgin births. Sand-colored maidens bathed in mountain streams were filled with salmon roe. Smolt swam in their bellies. Move closer, hear the swell of secret waters. The women married totem pole carvers and bore fishers who pulled in full nets. Each night the mothers reconstructed the bones, threw them back to the sea, and the salmon lived again. Stay, I'll let you touch their fins. Here on my breast, see this rusty wound? A cross marks the time the stories dulled, and Tai took a new name and began to live somewhere else, across the sea in a garden where the plants grow at the feet of men and women, not through the trunks of their bodies. Yes, you may kiss it. Our garden was cleared, and spirits shrank, hidden glass cages, their moon faces darting through golden liquid to burn hotly behind stupid tongues. They will speak to you from my mouth if you'll just buy me a drink. No, don't go yet. You haven't seen it all. For $10, I'll show you every scar on my body. Another 10, you can make your own. I will dance for you in a veil of red waterfalls. Stay, I am a prophet. Angels visit me at night with penknives.